Hi people, hope you're doing well. I'd like to give you some advice. You don't have to take this advice, of course, it's up to you. But if you've got savings, like me, and it's not doing you much good, is it? It's just laying there. Unless you've got it into a real high interest account, it's not going to do you much good. I would, if I were you, consider not having a mortgage. Don't have that weight round your neck, and I'm going to tell you why. You don't own the house until you get the deeds. Now, I don't know what it's like to have a mortgage because I just paid cash for a house outright. I'd saved up, I got a deal, I paid for the house outright. Didn't want to have a mortgage because I'd be beholden to the mortgage company forevermore. Then I'd heard all these stories that when banks get into crisis, they can recover the money any way they want. And that means if you haven't paid for your house, then you don't own that house. The bank owns the house and they can turf you out. Now, you might say I'm talking a load of rubbish, but I've looked into this and I'm pretty sure that if you don't own the property by the time the banks collapse, they'll just come after everything that they can get to claw all the money back. And that would mean that there'd be just masses of people just thrown out of their properties who don't own those properties. I hope I'm wrong. Don't want to be right about this. But because I believe this many, many years ago, that's why I chose not to have any debts other than the usual ones like gas and electric, water rates, your normal debts. But I didn't want anything out of the way, what I would consider to be a weight round your neck that was capable of drowning you when times got really hard. And that's my little bit of advice. Because I do think we're heading for a spectacular crash. And I'm still contemplating what to do with my savings. It's pointless me taking it and putting it into an ISA for 2 years because in 2 years, I mean, who can tell what's going to happen in 2 years? You know, we could be in a fully fledged man made new world order under a new superpower, but I don't think we will be. I know a lot of people are thinking that we'll be under a new power, and that's where it's all going, and that's why Russia and China have got this relationship that looks pretty cozy. I did say this about 2 years ago. I said that's what will happen. It'll be Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, because North Korea, you know for a fact, are going to side with Russia. You just know that, don't you? I mean, did you not see the evidence when Trump went to visit North Korea to see Kim Jong Un? 2 weeks later, Putin was there to offer him a better deal. That's right. So we know it's going. I think only a fool would not know that the Anglo American world empire is crumbling right before our eyes. Because nothing lasts forever. Nothing. All currency comes to an end. And empires fall because they implode from within. Usually because of the amount of corruption. You look at the Roman Empire, you look how that went down so quickly. When it was eventually brought down, it was brought down because it had become so corrupt and there was no level of decency anymore. Well, that's what America's like. That's what the UK's like. They might appear to be a knight in shining armour to the world, but they're far from it. They're as blood guilty as anything I know, any other country out there. Maybe they are. Maybe Saddam Hussein called them the great infidel. There might be a bit of truth in that. They could well be the great infidel. But they're so hypocritical. The way they can just blame shift. Anyway, that's my bit of advice for you. Consider not having any debts around your neck. You'll be able to sleep better at night because it must be awful having a mortgage around your neck for about 30 years. I don't know what that's like. The pressure of that is just something I've never experienced. I just got lucky that I was able to just buy a house outright. And the only debts I've had after that were self-incurring debts. Like having to pay for my hospitalisation. Although I did have the money at the time, I could have paid for it outright. I chose to pay it off in instalments, and I think I'll finish paying for my last instalment in November. My American Express, when I got divorced from Marie, I left 8,000 on it. Half of it was her money, but I thought, well, she hadn't got a cat and no chance of paying it, so I may as well pay her debt as well. And I paid instalments on that. So there were a couple of things that taught me a lesson in life with credit cards and things that I knew that I couldn't afford at the time, and to just plow ahead and put them on a credit card, knowing full well that you'll pay for them later on. I learnt my lesson the hard way, and I always said to my mum and dad, I said, I don't think I'm going to be one of these people that's going to get a mortgage. I just don't want to be another one of the people in the world who's on the conveyor belt of life, just drifting along. I didn't want that for me, and so I didn't choose that life. And I think I've made the right decision because I'm debt free, and I'm lucky because I won't know what the pressure's like. You know, having to find what my sister has to find every month, a colossal amount of money for her mortgage, and if she loses her job, she'd have all that pressure on her, knowing that they could take that house off her. I just didn't want that. Didn't want to be another statistic in life, having a repossession order on you and being turfed out into the streets. Terrible, terrible, terrible. But this is the world we live in. And so that's my advice for you. And it's up to you guys whether you think it's good advice and whether you probably would consider consolidating all your finances and maybe just paying everything outright. And then it'll just be that weight lifted off your shoulder after that. You'll just have a more harmonious life. Yeah, try it, you'll see. Of course, you have to have the money, don't you, to pay your mortgage off. But I'm just saying, if you've got like savings, say you've got 50 grand or something like that, and you owe 30 grand on your mortgage, pay your mortgage, because you're not getting much interest on your account, and I haven't been for the last 2 or 3 years getting much interest on mine. So that's the way it is. See you all again.